What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel as well as on Twitch, so make sure you come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name Aftersound. And I do have a new song out recently called Summer Gravity, so check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. All right, guys, we had our town hall on October 16th, 2025. I got my 5 biggest takeaways for you, so let's go ahead and jump right in. The only thing that I will say before doing that, actually, is this was not as crazy as the last two in terms of like a bunch of new information. The hype level wasn't as high, and the team had some like technical difficulties, so it was just a weird town hall overall. That being said, just because there wasn't a bunch of new stuff doesn't mean that it wasn't a solid town hall. And in fact, if you look at the last couple of months, they gave us the blueprint for what they're working on over these next couple of months, right? So we'll just say like Q4 of this year. So we got some clarifications on certain timelines for certain things, and also the team's just been like, they're in build mode right now. So they told us all the cool stuff that they're working on the last couple of town halls, and now they're delivering them, right? We got the skins just this past week, and we're going to get the reward cards next week. There's a lot of other things, including land, player avatars, all that stuff is in the works before the end of the year. So let's go ahead and dive in. This is mainly just going to be, like my 5 biggest takeaways is mainly just going to be kind of talking about where the progress is, or where they're at in terms of their progress on some of these projects and when we can expect them. So first and foremost, we got the player avatars, which is something I want to call out here as like the first one, just because Matt's saying it's going to be out by the end of the year. This is one of the bigger projects that they're working on, and they are not saying a lot about it. I mean, they're very excited, you know, from Matt to Nate, like just all the stuff that's going on. But Matt is very, like, he's trying to tease something, right? He's going through and specifically trying to tease that they have something in the works, something cool that they're cooking up with the player avatars that they don't want the players to know about yet. And somebody asked a very direct question during the Q&A and said, will we be able to play with our avatars? Like, will we be able to battle with our avatars and do something along those lines? And Matt, you know, just kind of coyly said, I'm going to plead the fifth, and then shouted over to Dave, and Dave said, I'm going to, you know, do the same. So they're working on something here. Again, I don't want to overhype this as somebody who like doesn't really care about player avatars. It's not like, you know, I'm just waiting for this thing to drop, but I am curious. My curiosity has been piqued, and I am very much looking forward to seeing how this can impact my experience with the game as well as the experience for many players. Again, it doesn't need to be something super crazy, but if it's just another element that makes my time with Splinterlands a game that I check in with every single day, if it makes my experience better and I'm able to do cool stuff and, you know, personalize my avatar and have a lot of fun with that, then, you know, I'm looking forward to it. And in many ways, I kind of like this approach, maybe because, you know, my curiosity has been piqued now. So I like this approach of them like teasing something without it being like, oh, we're working on this and, you know, TBD on when it's going to happen. I mean, you know, they gave us a time frame. It is something by the end of the year. So this is within the next 2.5 months, really 2 months, right? If you think about the fact that we're like mid-October now, I don't think they're going to be releasing anything at the second half of December with, you know, Christmas and the holidays. So my guess is that we will see this within the next 2 months, which is kind of exciting. Moving on to land. Now there were some updates on land. You know, Cryptomancer had been on vacation for a while, but he is back, and I've been posting some of his screenshots of his posts, right? So shout out again to Paul TRX and Keeks for sharing that with me. The land card project, meaning the cinder-based thing, as well as being able to craft cards with land resources, I believe is going to be next month, or that's what they're shooting for. So November of 2025. And then Matt did kind of allude to getting things back on track with 2.0 and how he's speccing a lot of that stuff out now. And once Cryptomancer is done and this project is in the books, then they'll pivot to that and hope to get something out by Q1 of next year, Q1 2026. And again, this might be some new resources. This might be buildings. We don't really know what it is, but Matt was saying it's going to be something along the lines of like what they did with 1.75, where it's going to expand the game somewhat exponentially, where people will have to kind of do a little, you know, land Tetris in terms of like figuring out how they're going to allocate resources, allocate production, allocate DEC, right? So all these different things. So again, that's exciting. That sounds like it's set for Q1 of next year. But first things first, we got the land card project, which should be coming out this year. And I was probably feeling a little bearish about that initially, just because I was like, you know, Cryptomancer's been out. I don't know, you know, his updates have been good, but I don't see that this is moving as quickly as I thought it would need to. But Matt says it'll be out next month, so it looks like it'll be out next month. The only thing I'll say, and I kind of talked about this in that land update video, is that my guess is we are not going to get a new work site, right? Similar to like the Aura Labs, where you'd have to like, in order to get Cinder, you'd need to create that. But then again, I don't know. We'll see what Cryptomancer puts out. There's still like, what, 4 to 6 weeks? So there could be something in there. Okay, number 3, and a little update on survival mode. It sounds as though, sadly for me, it sounds as though survival mode has not been touched yet. So they did turn it off, and they said that they are working to get the current projects going. And since the survival mode update with all of the different, kind of like levels that they have kind of planned and rewards distribution, that is a little bit more of an involved project, a little bit more of a complex project. And so therefore they will be tackling that after they get through their current slew of projects. So my guess, I hate to say it, but my guess is that we may not see survival mode until next year, which means another, 5+ seasons of it not being available. Hopefully I'm wrong. Maybe the team will quickly be able to pivot to that once, other things are done, but that is where it's at. Number 4, and actually, you know what? I kind of did this in an order that I don't want to. So let's slip down to number 5 for a second, and then we'll finish out with the company finances. So number 5, they did talk about guild overhaul, and that this is probably something that will have to be next year. They didn't even say like Q1, but the 2 kind of takeaways for me from that specifically when it comes to the guild overhaul is that Matt really wants to redesign brawls to be a new type of game mode, meaning that the way you use Splinterlands cards will be completely different than what we have. Now, I take that as you have tournaments, you have ranked, you have what's that called? Tournaments, ranked, you have practice mode, like all these things use the cards in the same way. But land uses cards in a different way. And so if he's talking about it being like a new type of game mode and you using the cards in a different way, right? So it's different from ranked, it's different from survival, it's different from tournaments, it's different from practice. I would think that maybe he's saying we're going to do something similar to land. Now, not actually land itself, but just in the sense where like maybe these cards do something different. Maybe brawls provide some kind of different type of game mode where, the attacks, the way that the attacks work is different. The way that health works is different. The way that abilities work are different. That would be my hope, because that would again make for something really exciting and get everybody involved in brawls, or at least if you wanted to be involved in brawls, and have it be something completely different from the game, so it doesn't just feel so repetitive like you're doing the same thing over and over again. But that's what he was kind of teasing there with brawls. Again, a lot of this stuff is still needs to be spec'd out, so this is at least in my mind like 6 months out, right? 6 months. And then the other thing he mentioned was a new gladiator set that would be in the works and probably be a part of that. And again, it's still being spec'd out. We don't know how that would work in terms of the conscript ability. We don't know how that would work in terms of just if gladiators would be considered modern or wild eligible, all of that. But just the idea that there would be a new gladiator set that would come into the mix. There would probably be a way to unbind old gladiators. And if I'm going to be honest, I really wish that they would not unbind gladiators. That's my hope. My hope, if I were to have my way, and it was my preference, just leave the old gladiator packs available for sale forever. So people can go in and buy them at any time, right? 2,000 merits per pack. And if you get a player that comes in tomorrow or a year from now, they can still go in and build up their gladiator deck. They can't buy it though. And that's the key, right? So you leave these old gladiator cards or the packs available, and then you just add a new pack. And so people like myself, I haven't maxed out my gladiator set, but like once I max out my gladiator set, and for anybody who has, they can go and start spending their merits on the new pack set, right? That is how I would do it. I hope the team considers that, but that's just where I'm at. Okay, and then final thing is company finances. One major thing that Matt said is that all major issues have been resolved. And so he was talking about the fact that he took over this role a little bit over 2 years ago in September of 2023. And it was just, dumpster fire after dumpster fire of trying to get things so that the company would not be put in a precarious situation or have to shut down. So he was saying that the team, him, just how all this stuff has been able to go, they've been able to do that. And with the success of the Conclave Arcana sale, right, with the Conclave Arcana mini set and them getting, a nice infusion of DEC, they have no major issues when it comes to company finances. They are focused on building. And he kind of pointed to the last 6 months, especially bring Dave on board to kind of help spearhead a lot of the management stuff that Matt didn't really care to do. And Dave's done a fantastic job, so shout out to Dave. But just saying, like, if you look at the last 6 months, like, we've been shipping, right? They've just been shipping cool update after cool update and adding to the game, adding features, new player experience, old player experience, right? Like, tweaking things here and there. Like, I buy it. I'm buying. I'm a huge buyer, right? And that's not financial advice. I'm not actually using money. All I'm saying is that if you look at what Matt is talking about and you look at the last 6 months, I mean, the team is just shipping they're shipping product, right? That's what it is. And they got a line of things that are hoping to get out the door, the next couple of months and then early next year. So all this stuff is like, that's where they're focused on. It's no longer how do we put out these fires? How do we reduce expenses? How do we do X, Y, and Z? It's how do we make this game even better? And for that, I think the last 6 months have actually been awesome in that regard. I know you got to take out the price. You got to take out what's happening in the rest of the crypto markets. I mean, if you really want to get some perspective, just look at all altcoins, right? Like most, especially in gaming, they're all down. So many games are dead. This team is not. This game is not. And I think that's a testament to how things have been navigated over the last couple of years and, the last 6 months. If the last 6 months show you anything, it's that this team is in build mode and they are shipping product, and it's an exciting time to be a part of Splinterlands. So that is all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I will catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.